Hi, and welcome to my video. So I've been sitting on this project for a long time now, about like 5-7 years, and then what really pushed this project is two things. So the first thing is the church where I attend and volunteer at. There's a 4th to 6th grader program, and in the room where we do the Sunday services and like different events is a prayer wall. So it's like this kind of like a wooden box with like wires, and you take index card and you roll it up, you put your prayer in it, you roll it up, and you stick it in the wall, and nobody reads those, nobody looks at them. And so this prayer wall in specific in that room had over 10 years of prayers in it. The prayer wall filled up, obviously. It's been 10 years and it was bursting with prayers, and it's probably like 6 feet across and 4 feet high. So it was time to take it down, also because they had to paint the room and nobody really wanted to throw them away. I've just been scanning them in. So far we've had them a week, and I've scanned 1,500 little cards, and I've only done 2 buckets. And then the second motivating factor was, and I recently took a class about 2 books in the Bible, and I think it was the final project for that class, was to pick a section of scripture, one of the sections that was offered by the professor, and to handwrite it to help us understand it, which is incredibly helpful if you're, like, it's well known taking notes is going to help you remember things, so it's incredibly helpful. And that kind of gave me the idea to rewrite the entire Bible by hand as a way to understand it, because I've read through the entire Bible front to back about 3 or 4 times now, and I always find new things, so I think writing it is going to be a really interesting experience. So I got this sketchbook that I was going to do it with, but then the prayer cards came in and these 2 things merged, and as I was sitting at the table thinking, what do I do with all these prayer cards now that I've scanned them in, because I feel bad just throwing them away, and I thought, bro, I'll just make paper. I've been wanting to make paper for years. So what we need to make paper is a blender, paper, a bucket, like a big bucket that can hold water, screen, a staple gun, and picture frames. So out of all of that, I have the bucket, I have paper, I have a staple gun, but I haven't been able to find any frames, and I'm striking out on the blender. I know we have screen because we're constantly replacing a screen door because of the cat, but I can't find that either. So the first step of this is actually to cut up all the paper, and I have a couple notebooks from high school that I think I'm going to use as well, just because the index cards are all colorful. But that's the journey so far. So I'm going to show you guys the bag of prayer requests. Okay, so it's currently like 11, just finished a crazy Scrabble game, and I'm sorry that I introduced my little brother to it. I finished the first notebook, my statistics notebook. Just started on my physics one as well. It's actually, I used to take such cute notes, like coded, like little bats and pumpkins and things, because I was doing this in 2020. But this is the bucket so far. I filled it up with quite a lot of water. So I'm trying to get all of this done before I go to bed. Also, I secured a blender. The paper is soaking. I haven't done any of the index cards yet. I think I'm gonna use this notebook paper as like a tester round. So anyways, that's the update. It is way too late for me to be awake, but yeah, good night. Okay, I got the goods. So picture frames are pretty expensive, and I know that canvases actually have frames. So we went to the store and they had these canvases that were on sale or were a good price. I'm just going to take the staples out and use the wood as my frame, which is perfect, exactly what I needed. And then also, while I was there at the Hobby Lobby, because I have a gift card for there, I found tulle, and it was in the clearance part of like the fabric section. This in here last night around 10, so it's currently I think it's 3 p.m. so it's been soaking for a good long while, and so now I have to Google a video on how to do this, and then yeah, I'm so excited. I got everything and I'm so excited about that. I just need to fix up the canvases so I can do that. I think there's something so cool is like I don't really feel like I'm an adult, like I'm a grown person, but then I go and like I have the ability to just go out and buy a blender and buy canvases and things and just like make this project that I've been trying to make for years and just like make it happen all with my own willpower. And it's like maybe I am growing up. What do you do with the canvas part once you've taken the wooden stretcher out, right? But actually this is funny, I just recently did this because we got my grandpa, if you check out my road trip series you'll see it, a pool table for his birthday, and we spent like a good hour, 2 hours pulling all the staples out of a pool table in somebody's basement. So what we're doing next is, if you're doing the same thing as me, if you don't have like a frame, just take all of the staples out and take the canvas off, and then we're gonna take one, and I'll show you guys. We're gonna take one of the wooden frames, or picture frames, or whatever you choose to use, and we're gonna stretch the tulle on it, or put it on there in a way that it makes like a screen, like a mesh. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on and show, and I'm gonna take all the staples out, and I'm gonna come back and show you guys. Okay, will not lie, this took forever. The frames are done, so we're gonna go ahead and staple the things together. Screen is done, so now we're gonna work on blending. And then put water in it. Okay, update on the paper. I do not have enough dish towels for this project, so I found a bunch of scrap shirts and I put those in between the paper so that it has something to stick to and then it can kind of absorb the water. And I stacked them all up, and then I saw somebody say you can put them in the sun to help them dry faster. And this, I don't know what, I think I just had some errors, a lot of errors in this time. So the pulp had a lot of chunks of paper in it, so there's pieces where you can still see the writing even in the paper. So I went ahead and I strained out my water the best that I could using this thingy, and also I had to change, the tool didn't really work, so I changed to this, which is actually a liner for a shelf, and I dumped all of the pulp into this bucket, so it's gonna get blended again. I just didn't have any way to differentiate between like that good pulp and the pulp with like the pieces, so. And then I've been tearing up the cards into little pieces, and I'm gonna blend them but I'm gonna spend a little while tearing up all the pieces. That's how it's going so far. Luckily it's really sunny today, so hopefully the papers will get nice and dry. Okay, it's currently Friday. Papers have been outside in the sun for over 24 hours and they haven't dried yet, so that's great. It's kind of got like a lilac hue to it. For some reason, the pink ones are bleeding out the most, like the most ink. Yes, it's a very slow process, unfortunately, but that's what's going on. Okay, so it took like 24 hours for the paper to dry, and I would recommend putting it in the sun, but this is how it turned out. So this is how the paper turned out. Pretty good, very much like papyrus. And then once they dried and I peeled them off of the fabric that I was using to press them down on, I put them under some heavy textbooks for about another 24 hours so that they'd kind of flatten out, and I'm going to be putting them back because some of them are still a little bit wobbly. It's really like flexible because of the like mesh that I used, or the strainer. It does have some like weird ridges and a paper towel type texture on it, and because I used fabric strips to press them down on, they did leave an indentation on it. The seams of the shirts did get on the paper. So here's another one. It's got that seam on there, and then this is the front side. And this one I actually dried on a paper towel, so you can see the design there. They're like diamonds. And I will say some of them I did use a red shirt to press it on, and they turned out super pink. So like here's a regular white one, and they turned out super pink. But this is all the white ones so far. I would recommend blending it a lot more than I did. Tearing it up smaller, only putting in like one handful at a time, especially if your blender is less powerful like mine, and blending for at least a minute, because some of these papers you can still see little like chunks of paper with like words on it, even though it's soaked for a long time and I blended it. You still have to blend it for longer just to make sure that everything's smooth. So I would recommend using a legitimate like screen door type screen on your paper so it doesn't turn out like rigidy and like papyrus-y. So I also did a couple of colored ones, but I'm gonna be making another video about that because that's gonna be kind of fun. I just made this green paper that is like as bright as a tree or the Grinch. So I'm gonna be making another video about making the colored paper, but I did make two. These are my trial papers. I made purple pulp, and it ended up not being enough, so I had to mix in a little white. So the paper ended up turning out kind of like greenish grayish. I'll show you a better view here. So here are the two purple papers, and then this is the white one compared to them. So this one turned out really greenish, and this one turned out a little more purpley. I think this project was fun. I think I did make a lot of mistakes, so don't follow my example. The other videos that I used are going to be in the description if you want to learn how to actually make paper. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed watching this. The comment of this week is, what is your favorite thing that you have ever done with paper? So kind of craft focused, but maybe you wrote a book, or maybe you drew a really cool picture. And so what's your favorite thing to do with pictures? Mine will be in the description as always, along with my links to my social media or my other pages, including the page to donate to my fundraising to be a missionary to Japan. But be sure to subscribe to keep an eye out for that second video where I'm going to be making the paper out of the index cards, and it's going to be super colorful and super fun and super trial and error. So we will see about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next weekend.